Welcome to the Kindness Extremist Podcast. I'm your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa. I've spoken to tens of thousands of people all over the world about the importance of kindness. And I am obsessed with how we can bring more kindness into our daily lives and restore balance to a deeply unbalanced world. Every episode, I'll give you 3 practical strategies to create a kinder world, and I'll do it in 30 minutes or less. No fluff, just valuable, actionable content that you can implement in your life immediately after listening to help you actively create a kinder world. There's no time to waste. Let's dive in. What's up, my friend? Welcome back to episode 21 of the Kindness Extremist Podcast. Today, we're diving deep into something that literally determines whether your journey toward creating a kinder world will succeed or crash and burn in spectacular fashion. And here's the kicker. This isn't about dealing with difficult coworkers or navigating polarizing conversations with your extended family or meeting impossible deadlines at work. The fight I'm talking about is happening right now between your own 2 ears. See, this is what I know about you. You have drama in your life. Don't worry, you're not alone. I have drama too, obviously. Everyone does. And here's an even more depressing piece of information. No matter how positive, kind, and respectful you are, you cannot immunize yourself from the world's problems. Drama doesn't care if you volunteer at your local church, if you feed people experiencing homelessness during your free time, or if you donate half your paycheck to an animal shelter. Drama has 0 F's to give. It will find you. But here's the beautiful truth. We don't have to let that drama control our attitude. We can choose to develop an attitude that can help us navigate our drama, or more specifically, one that propels us towards creating a kinder world instead of pushing us farther away from it. If you're up to it, my friend, in this episode, I'm going to share with you 3 powerful strategies that will help you win the most important fight of your life, the fight for your attitude. No need to delay, my friend. Let's get to it. Let me start with a confession. I used to be a person who wanted everything to be easy. My boss should be a better communicator. Or, why are my upstairs neighbors so damn rude and inconsiderate? Or, this organization allows people to get away with murder. What kind of clowns are running this place? Sound familiar? These thoughts and many others like them did absolutely nothing to change my situation. Instead, they weakened my resolve and kept me stuck in place. Since I expected things to be easy and to happen in a certain way, I was completely thrown off balance when they didn't go according to my plan. So here's the first strategy of the episode. Expect a challenge. What if we expected this process of creating a kinder world to actually be hard? What if we didn't walk into this movement with blinders on, expecting everyone to be reasonable and cooperative? What if we expected to face challenging people and toxic environments along the way? Just being aware that these barriers could come up lessens their power over us because they lose the element of surprise. As the iconic quote goes, if you stay ready, then you don't need to get ready. Now, I want to be crystal clear about what I mean by expecting a challenge, because this is where some people get confused. This is not the same thing as saying, I just expect the worst all the time, so if something good happens, I'm pleasantly surprised. That's a losing mentality that will drain your energy faster than a bucket with holes in the bottom. What I'm talking about is expecting the best while being prepared to deal with the worst. It's like stepping outside to enjoy a beautiful day while carrying an umbrella just in case. You're not being pessimistic about the weather, you're just prepared for multiple possibilities. Think about it this way. When you go to the gym, do you expect the weights to be light and the workout to be effortless? I hope not. You expect resistance, you expect to sweat, you expect your muscles to burn, and because you expect those challenges, you come prepared with the right mindset, the right gear, and the right attitude to push through it. The same principle applies to creating positive change in your life and your relationships. When you expect that some people will resist your kindness, that some situations will test your patience, and that progress will sometimes feel impossibly slow, you're not being negative, you're being strategic. Let me give you a workplace example. Jackie works in customer service and used to get completely derailed every time an angry or hostile customer would start yelling at her. Once she started expecting that some customers would be difficult, she prepared scripts for those situations and practiced staying calm. Now, when someone raises their voice at her, instead of taking it personally, she thinks, here's the challenge I was expecting. I'm built for this. And she handles it like a boss. But here's what made Jackie's transformation even more powerful. She didn't just prepare for difficult customers, She overhauled her entire mindset. She started each day by reminding herself, today I might encounter someone who's having the worst day of their life, and they might take it out on me. That's not about me. It's about their pain. My job is to be a source of calm in their storm. What's so great about this is that her mental preparation turned her from a victim of other people's emotions into a rock star who could maintain her balance regardless of what came her way. And here's a personal example. Jeff is a single dad trying to co-parent with an ex-wife who's often hostile and uncooperative. Instead of hoping each interaction will be different, he now expects challenges and prepares accordingly. He keeps conversations brief and documented, focuses only on their child's well-being, and doesn't let her negativity derail his day. But Jeff even took this further. He realized that his ex-wife's behavior patterns were actually predictable. She was usually most difficult around holidays, school events, and whenever she was stressed out about her own life. So Jeff started preparing emotionally and logistically for these predictable storms. He'd meditate before pickup times, have responses ready for common complaints, and even schedule something positive for himself like a massage after particularly challenging interactions. He transformed from someone who dreaded every encounter to someone who approached them with confidence and preparation. Here's another way to think about this. Professional athletes don't just practice their sport, they practice dealing with adversity within their sport. They train in bad weather. They practice when they're tired. They simulate pressure situations. Why? Because they know that real competition won't always happen under perfect conditions. You and I are in the business of creating a kinder world. And if we're paying attention to the world as you're listening to my voice, we signed up for a really tough gig. Metaphorically speaking, we're essentially professional kindness athletes. And just like any athlete, we need to train for the challenging conditions that we'll inevitably face. Which leads me nicely to our first practical takeaway of the episode. This week, identify the 3 most predictable challenges in your life, whether that's a difficult colleague, a family member who always creates drama, or even something like traffic on your commute. Write them down. Now that you name them, they can't surprise you anymore. When they show up, you'll be ready, but don't stop there. For each challenge that you've identified, write down one specific way you can prepare for it. So if it's a difficult colleague, maybe you prepare a calm response to their usual complaints. If it's the traffic, maybe you prepare an inspiring podcast playlist or practice gratitude during the drive. If it's family drama, maybe you prepare boundaries and exit strategies. Real talk, life can be really hard, and shouldn't that be expected? Making meaningful change is not easy. We should expect a challenge when we're trying to improve our world and maintain a positive attitude. We should expect a fight for the life that we deserve. And we should expect to win while we're doing it. Now, here's where things get really challenging for the second strategy of the episode. When those difficult situations arrive, and they will, our emotions are going to try to hijack our decision-making process. The second strategy is this: choose your values over your emotions. Your values are the unshakable, unchangeable parts of your core that make up who you are. They're your North Star when everything around you is chaos. When your emotions are screaming at you to react, to quit, to strike back, or to give up, your values are what keep you anchored. But let me be real with you about why this is so damn difficult. Our emotions are loud, immediate, and incredibly persuasive. They show up with sirens blaring, demanding immediate attention and action. Fear says, run away, get to safety now. Anger says, you're going to let him talk to you like that? Don't be a punk, man. Fight back immediately. Hurt says, it's not safe here. Shut down and protect yourself. These emotional reactions happen in milliseconds, and they feel absolutely justified in the moment. Your values, on the other hand, are quiet and steady. They don't scream at you, they whisper. They require you to pause, breathe, and remember who you really want to be in this world. And that pause, that's where your power lives. I learned this lesson the hard way during one of the darkest periods of my professional life. I was dealing with a boss who seemed determined to make my life miserable. Every day brought new criticisms, impossible deadlines, and even public humiliation. My emotions were telling me to either explode in anger, quit dramatically, or just shut down completely. But in a moment of clarity, I remembered one of my core values. Surprisingly, or not, kindness. I asked myself, what would a kind person do here? The answer wasn't to react emotionally, it was to be kind to myself by documenting everything, seeking support through the proper channels, and maintaining my professionalism regardless of how I was being treated. It wasn't easy, and it definitely wasn't satisfying in the moment, but it was the right thing to do. Imagine this workplace scenario. Let's say your boss just publicly criticized your work in a team meeting, even though the project failure was due to his own poor planning. Your emotions are screaming at you to either shut down completely or fire back defensively. But thankfully for you, your core values include professionalism and growth. So instead of reacting emotionally, you requested a private meeting where you calmly discuss the project challenges and the proposed solution for future success. But here's how you can make that approach even more powerful. Before that private meeting, you can, and you should, spend time processing your own emotions. Instead of suppressing them, you can acknowledge them. You could write in your journal, I feel angry, humiliated, and frustrated. These feelings are valid, and I also know that my values are more important than my feelings right now. If you do that, this emotional acknowledgement will allow you to enter that meeting from a place of strength rather than reactivity. And here's a personal example for you. Let's say your teenage daughter has been pushing boundaries, staying out past curfew, and being disrespectful. Your emotions want you to either explode in anger or give up entirely. But your core values center on being a loving, consistent parent who helped your child grow into a responsible adult. So instead of reacting emotionally, you engage in calm conversation with her about consequences, maintain consistent boundaries, and continue showing love to her even when it's difficult. You can, and you should, go deeper than that though. Let's say that you realize that your daughter's behavior was triggering your own childhood memories of feeling powerless and being disrespected by authority figures. Your emotions were actually trying to protect that wounded inner child by either fighting back aggressively or shutting down completely. But thankfully, your values reminded you that this wasn't about your past, it's about your daughter's future. This insight helps you to respond with compassion rather than react from your own unhealed wounds. Keeping it real, this process is such hard work. And to be clear, it doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. That's terrible, unhealthy, and impossible. It means acknowledging your emotions while choosing to respond based on your values instead of being controlled by how you feel in the moment. Here is a practical framework that I use. When I'm facing a challenging situation, I ask myself 3 questions. The first one, what am I feeling right now? I'm going to acknowledge the emotion. Second question, what will my emotions have me do? Recognize the emotional impulse. And then third, what will my values have me do? Choose the value-based response whenever you can. This simple process creates space between the trigger and the response. And in that space, you have the power to choose who you want to be. Let me share another example from my own life. A few years ago, a family member said something deeply hurtful to me during a holiday gathering. My emotions immediately wanted me to either lash out with an equally hurtful response or storm out dramatically. But my core value of family connection reminded me that this person was hurting and that my reaction could either escalate the situation or create an opportunity for healing. I chose to take a deep breath and say, I can hear that you're upset. Can we talk about this privately so I can understand what's really going on? No, it wasn't the satisfying emotional response my anger deeply wanted, but it was the response that my values demanded. And you know what? It led to one of the most powerful, meaningful conversations that we've ever had. So your second practical takeaway of the episode is this. Take 5 minutes right now to identify your top 3 core values. Write them down. Maybe it's integrity, compassion, growth, whatever it is. Maybe it's family, justice, authenticity. Regardless of what it is, write them down and keep them somewhere you can see them regularly. The next time you're facing a challenging situation and your emotions are running high, pause and ask, what would someone with my values do in this situation? But here's the advanced level of this practice. Start catching yourself in low-stakes situations first. So when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when a store clerk is rude, or when your internet is running slowly, these are perfect training grounds for choosing values over emotions. The more you practice in small moments, the stronger you'll be when the big moment arrives. Remember, emotions are temporary visitors. They come and they go, but your values, those are your permanent residents, and they should be the ones making the biggest decisions in your life. Hey, fellow kindness extremists, it's me, Shola. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're mowing what I'm growing, if you're smelling what I'm stepping in. Okay, I'll stop. If you're enjoying what you're listening to so far, I would love it if you would take a moment to hit the subscribe button and leave a rating and a review. Those incredibly kind acts go so far in helping me to reach as many people as possible who will join the movement to actively create a kinder world. I appreciate you so much, my friend. Okay, Let's get back to the episode. The third and final strategy might sound simple, but is incredibly powerful. Leave everything and everyone you touch a little bit better than you found them. This isn't about grand gestures or heroic acts. It's about developing an attitude of helpfulness that transforms both your environment and your outlook. Here are some workplace examples. Refill the coffee pot when it's empty. Clean the microwave after you use it. Give a sincere compliment to a colleague who's having a rough day. Support someone's idea instead of immediately stating why it won't work. Resist the urge to spread gossip. And here are some personal examples. Smile at a stranger in the grocery store. Pick up a piece of litter even if you didn't drop it. Let someone merge into traffic without honking at them. Send an encouraging text to a friend who's going through a tough time. Listen, really listen when your partner or child wants to talk. It doesn't matter how small the act is because there's no such thing as a small act of kindness. The only thing that matters is that you're doing something, anything, to make it better than it was before you arrived. Here's what I've discovered through this principle that might surprise you. The person who benefits most from making things better is you. When you operate from this mindset, you're constantly looking for opportunities to add value, to solve problems, and to bring light into dark spaces. This fundamentally changes your brain chemistry and your energy levels. If that wasn't enough, here's another benefit. When you spend your day looking for ways to help, you're training your mind to notice possibilities instead of problems. When you're focused on what you can contribute, rather than what you can complain about, you literally rewire your brain for positivity and for action. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this. Rachel noticed that the elevator in her apartment building was covered in graffiti and smelled terrible. So instead of complaining about it like everyone else in her building, she spent her Saturday morning cleaning it and put up a small plant. Now, other residents have started keeping it clean too, and she often overhears neighbors thanking each other for maintaining their shared space. But Rachel's story goes deeper than that. She told me that cleaning that elevator changed something fundamental in her outlook on life. She said, "The first time in months, I felt powerful instead of powerless. I realized that I don't have to wait for someone else to fix what bothers me. I can be the solution." That's the magic of this principle. When you make things better than you found them, you're not just improving the environment, you're proving to yourself that you have agency, that you matter, that your actions can create positive change. Here's another powerful example from my own life. I used to work in an office where the break room was constantly a mess. Dirty dishes piled up, coffee spills on the counter, crumbs everywhere. For months, I complained about it to anyone who would listen. Why can't people clean up after themselves? This is so disrespectful. Then one day it hit me. I was part of the problem. I was contributing to the negativity by complaining instead of contributing to the solution by taking action. So I started spending 5 minutes each day cleaning the break room. I didn't make announcements about it or ask for pats on the back or recognition. I just did it. Within 2 weeks, something amazing happened. Other people started noticing and began cleaning up after themselves. The break room transformed from a source of daily frustration into a pleasant place where people actually wanted to spend their lunch break. But the biggest transformation was in me. I went from being someone who complained about problems to someone who actually tried to solve them. This principle works in relationships too. Instead of waiting for your spouse to be more affectionate, you become more affectionate. Instead of waiting for your friend to call you, you can call them. Instead of waiting for your teenager to open up, you create the spaces for safe conversation. If you don't know how you can leave something better than you found it, here's a simple question to ask yourself. What can I do right now that would be helpful? Helpfulness always makes any situation better. And if your attitude is locked in on finding ways to help others, you are officially making your world and the world around you a much better place for all of us. But let me give you some specific areas where you can apply this principle starting today. At work, could you streamline a process that's currently wasting everyone's time? Could you share knowledge that would help a colleague succeed? Could you acknowledge someone's contribution that usually goes unnoticed? Or at home, could you do a household task without being asked? Could you create a more peaceful environment when everyone's feeling stressed? Could you be the family member who listens without judgment? In your community, could you support a local business that's struggling? Could you volunteer for a cause that you care about? Could you be the neighbor who brings in packages or checks on elderly residents? So here's your third practical takeaway. Make this your daily challenge. I will leave everything I touch and everyone I meet a little bit better than I found them. Start small. Maybe today it's simply holding the door for someone or saying thank you with genuine appreciation. Notice how focusing on helping others shifts your own attitude and your energy. Here's the advanced version of this. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I make better today? If you can't think of anything, that's very valuable information. Tomorrow, I'll be more intentional about looking for opportunities that add value to the world around you. Let me bring this all together with a final truth. The fight to protect your attitude isn't a fight that you need to win every day for the rest of your life. You only have to win the fight today, or as I love to say, just today. Remove negative influence from your life. You can do that just today. Expect challenges and be prepared to deal with them. You can do that just today. Choose your values over emotions. You can do that just today. And leave everything better than you found it. Yes, you can do that just today too. Do you have to do this all tomorrow? Who cares? Tomorrow is irrelevant because it's not even here yet. This is only about doing the right thing until you fall asleep tonight, and you can do anything just today. As a reminder, we covered 3 powerful strategies for creating an unstoppable attitude. First of all, expect a challenge. Prepare for difficulties so they can't derail you. Second, choose your values over your emotions. Let your core principles guide your decisions. And third, make things better than you found them. Develop an attitude of helpfulness. These aren't just feel-good concepts, my friend. These are battle-tested strategies for maintaining the energy and positivity needed to create a real change in your corner of the world. Remember, creating a kinder world isn't about waiting for the perfect conditions or perfect people. It's about developing an unstoppable attitude that keeps moving forward regardless of the obstacles. The fight for your attitude is the fight for your ability to make a difference. And that is a fight definitely worth winning. This is your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa, and you now know that kindness can't be weak because you just experienced the strength of the Kindness Extremist Podcast. Until next time, my friend, the journey to a kinder world continues. Thank you for listening to the Kindness Extremist Podcast. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I have one favor to ask you. If you could kindly hit the subscribe button, leave a rating and a review, not only would that be incredibly kind, but by doing so, you're actively playing a role in growing this movement and ideally getting us one step closer to creating a kinder world. I hope to see you next week for another episode of the Kindness Extremist Podcast. Bye for now.